Well, we have an exciting coffee series this morning put together by Arya, the Arya Commercial Committee, and lots of great stuff going on with the Commercial Committee. That scholarship that we have been letting all of you know about since I guess it was Q4 of last year. We've got a ton of applications in, and we are going to be announcing our winner at the end of the show. So you guys have to stay tuned for the whole thing. It was a very hard decision, and there was a lot of debating, but we've come to a conclusion. So that's coming up, and a lot of other exciting things. But with Women's History Month, we thought it would be a great idea to have someone come on from Crew. And we did not just get someone, we got the president of the Denver chapter of Crew, KatieNobel, and she's going to be our guest speaker today. So Katie, welcome to Arya. It's so great to have you. It was fun getting to know you a little bit on our pre-call yesterday. So today we want to talk all about Crew, and we want to talk about women in commercial real estate and all the different obstacles that we face and all the opportunities that we have, and how Crew is there as a resource for all of us to really understand the issues that are there, and to also understand it's a resource to get help or to just get information if you need information. So Katie is not only the president of the Denver chapter, but she's also the vice president of Fidelity National, their Denver office. So she's very busy in the commercial arena. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really honored to be here to speak with your members, and Arya's been, it's such an amazing group. I've had some minimal involvement with Joella at the Denver chapter and attended some of the events in the past, and they've been amazing events and great opportunities to meet wonderful people. So I'm honored to be here today. Thank you.
Well, we are so excited to have you. One thing that we're going to do, I see that Nationals already, Jazz has posted a link out there to a special report, a benchmark study that Crew has put out, which they're sharing with the Arya members. So, at your convenience, you can click on that study, but basically it just shows us the state of women in commercial real estate right now, which, it's improving. But when I looked at the report and when Katie was sharing some of the figures with me, there are a lot of things that we still need to work on. And, I think that's something that we need to talk about today. So the first question I want to ask you, Katie, is, what's been your biggest challenge as a woman in the commercial real estate arena?
Thanks. So I would have to say the biggest challenge for me has definitely been I'm younger, and I think sometimes it's hard to get people to take me seriously as a business person. A lot of times I've felt in the past that I've been kind of just written off as like cute and fun, and in actuality, I'm very business savvy, and I know a lot about my job, and I know a lot about commercial transactions.
Right.
So I think sometimes it's been difficult to kind of get to that point in a conversation where we can get through the like chit chat and talk about serious business matters. Over time, that's definitely improved as I've had some more longevity in my career. But I definitely believe that sometimes that can just be tough, where people might write you off because of maybe the way you look, or because of how you, if I'm kind of a bubbly person. I think sometimes that makes people kind of put me aside and think maybe I'm not as professional as I actually am. So that's why I've really liked Crew, because it's given me the opportunity to kind of navigate how to handle those situations with women who've been in the business for a long time, and just kind of have a place not only for mentorship to get advice, but also with my peers to kind of see if maybe they have had similar experiences. So I've just learned that, it's really good to be bubbly and fun. And I think it does add an extra sense of comfort for people. But I also try to just make sure when I'm having business conversations that I really focus on business issues, and provide examples that I think would be relatable to the people I'm meeting, so that it gives me the opportunity to bring up actual business situations where I'm able to discuss, underwriting issues or transaction pain points that I can kind of assist with.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced very, very similar things to you, that you're the bubbly one, and we look younger as well. So that definitely affects how we're taken in the business world. As far as crew goes, tell me, it's 12,000 members across the United States. I believe you're international as well now.
Yep. So it's a global organization. There are over 12,000 members in over 75 markets, and 76% of the membership is C-level suite or more, not C-suite, but I would say like
Senior.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Senior level members in their companies. And we have a really high success rate of business, member to member business, which is awesome. There are multiple chapters in the United States. Many states have more than one chapter. And then there are now multiple chapters in the United Kingdom. And I believe after a convention that we had earlier this year, they're starting to expand down into South America. So it's growing every single year. And it's a wonderful organization. I think one of the main benefits of Crew is the research that they publish. So the benchmark study that we did share with you and your membership, that was done at the end of 2020, and they do that every 5 years. And they basically gather information from the membership base. There's an area in our membership directory where we're able to fill out our compensation and provide different demographic information, and they use that to pull research. So like you mentioned at the beginning, we've definitely made strides as far as being a woman in commercial real estate, but I do believe that there is a lot of work that can still be done, and opportunity for people to be compensated more fairly.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So we've got, according to the research study, I have in my notes, 36.7% of the commercial real estate industry is women. And when I was looking at the compensation breakdown, it looks like overall, there's a huge commission gap in terms of compensation between men and women. But, specifically when we're talking about diversity and inclusion, you've got the group, women just as a group, but then you've got Asian women and other ethnic and other minorities that make up an even smaller percentage. Do you want to go into some of those statistics and then talk a little bit about how Crew is really open to all different types of
Yes. So if you
cetera?
look at the white paper, I am pulling up the statistics, but I believe that it just, like, being a woman's hard enough. I think if you're a woman of another group of human beings, sometimes that puts you at a different I don't know a better word, but disadvantage. I think a lot of it is due to many different things. I think a lot of it's like what you're exposed to as you're making your career choices. I think for a lot of different people, commercial real estate's not necessarily always something that you come across as you're younger and you're trying to make career choices. So I think it's important that we start engaging young people of every group of human being early and telling them that this is a career option and you can be so successful. And I think even if you are a woman and you're maybe getting paid differently, you still have immense opportunity for success. So I think it's really important to engage younger women and men of every different group of people to make sure that people are being introduced to this option. And commercial real estate is so awesome because there's so many different career paths that you can take. You can be a commercial real estate broker, a developer. You can work in the title insurance business. You can work in the legal field. You can work in the financial field. You can work in construction. You can work in interior design. You can work in so many engineering. There's so many different opportunities and paths that you can take in commercial real estate. And I just think it's really important to engage young students. And that's a mission of Crew. Is they have a large arm that deals with scholarships and young people in college. It's called UCrew and career outreach. And Crew also provides scholarships to students that also include internships and lots of different resources for young people. Frankly, I think it's important to even be engaging people at the high school level so that,
Mhm.
as they're prepping for their postgraduate path, whether that's college or something else, they have an idea of which, path they can take. But
Right.
something else that crew is really instrumental in and has been really trying to implement this year is a DEI initiative. So that means diversity, equity, and inclusion. And when
Inclusion.
crew talks
Okay.
about diversity, they just mean having something in your chapter that you don't already have. So, we've noticed, and I think it's definitely changed, and every chapter is so different. Sometimes, like in Denver, I think the membership base is pretty, you know, similar. There's not all people are not always represented in our membership base. So it's really important as a chapter and as a national organization to be engaging people in our community who work, with everybody, and making sure that they're included in our chapter. So it's, representative of the human beings that are living in our society. So that's been really important for Cruise. They've been offering a lot of informational panels just to educate our members about DEI and the importance of it. I mean, we live in a global world with lots of
Right.
people. I don't know why, we want to work with everybody and we want to be treated equally. It's so important. And so this year, I think Crew's really just been trying to educate chapters and members about the importance of diversity and having everybody sit at the table together and working together. And so now at the local chapter levels, we're really trying to implement these different strategies to make sure that our chapters represent everybody and everyone feels comfortable coming to our chapter and engaging with each other, doing business, because we're all working together anyway. And it's just so important.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And I think, part of it is just educating people because, we talked a little bit about how are men involved in crew, and men are involved in crew. Guys, you can get involved because unless you understand what it's like or what the issues are, being ignorant to the issues is part of the problem. So having a huge organization like crew that's out there to help people understand, and Arya, I mean, Arya is there to educate people about the OPI struggle, and everything related to Asian home ownership. And I just feel that, to have more organizations working with us to promote diversity and inclusion and to make everyone aware is critical. So let's talk a little bit about, the actual study and, the tell me the statistics. Do you mind reading them out
Yes,
for
I was
uh,
pulling it up.
Asian women and compensation for Black women, Hispanic women, all of those stats? There was stuff in there
Yep.
that you brought up yesterday, which was very, very intriguing.
Yes. So I'm pulling it up right now. Okay. So in the compensation section, it's like the second page. So looking at this, it says, overall, the difference in total average earnings, bonuses and commissions combined across genders in 2020 is 34%, which was an 11% increase from 2015, which is awesome.
Mhm. Right.
The
That
average,
is, we're making strides.
yes, that's good, but it does get a little bit more depressing, unfortunately. So the average fixed salary base in commercial real estate in 2020 was $112,290 for men and $100,802 for women. That's a 10.2% salary gap, which on average means that women make 90 cents for every dollar that men earn in fixed salaries. For Black, Asian, Hispanic, Latino women, the salary gap is much wider. Black women make 85%, 80 cents on every dollar a man makes. Asian women make 86 cents on every dollar, and Hispanic, Latina women make 80 cents for every dollar that men earn. And that's on fixed salaries. With regards to commissions and bonuses, the gender gap is much larger across all sectors. On average, women earn 56% less than men from commissions and bonuses, while white women earn 51% less from commission and bonuses than men. Um, Black women earn 71% less, and Asian women earn 73% less, and Hispanic Latino women are earning 74% less than their male counterparts.
Those statistics are staggering. We
Yes.
need to do something to change this. So I'm happy you guys are out there publishing these studies. So it starts with awareness. That's number one.
Yes. It's just it's a little eye-opening. I guess like maybe I live in a really idealistic world, but I just don't, it's so hard for me to understand that. And I just think like, something has to give. I think that I think just having the information out there is so important, but I do think that a lot of it does come from education. And I think it's really important to be educating your companies. I was telling Ritu yesterday, I actually ordered 100 copies of this benchmark study in print, and I hand them out to people all the time.
Right.
I have one displayed prominently on my desk at work. But also when I'm meeting with people who are company owners or in C-level executive positions, I give them this information and just say, like, you should read this. I think you might find it compelling.
Right.
I do think that part of the, solution is education. But then, like I said, I did see someone send in a comment asking
Yes.
why women earn
Getting lower commissions. I have a lot of ideas, but please go first, Katie.
Honestly, there's probably so many factors that play into this. One, I think that women are just less represented in jobs where you would be earning commission. I think two, like we talked about this yesterday, I'm about to have a baby. I think, that's an added, not to say that men don't participate heavily in the, raising of children, but I do think that it disproportionately affects women.
Yes.
You've seen that with COVID, like a lot of women have had to go home and stay home because of education for their children and the way things
Right.
are right now. But I do think that that is a disqualifying factor. I think just, things change. Like I've noticed it in my own life. I got married 2 years ago, but I've been doing this for 7 years. The way I used to work before I was married is a lot different than the way I work now because I have a husband and I want to be home with him and I can't go to happy hour every night and I can't travel all the time and it's going to become more compounded when I have a child. I can't do the things I used to do before. I have to find creative ways. And I do think too, like, I don't even want to say this, but I do think sometimes that some women struggle with confidence because you're taught to be a certain way and you're taught to kind of just go with the flow and say yes. And I think it's really hard to break out of that mold. We talked about this on the pre-call yesterday. It's just advocating for yourself at work, advocating for yourself with your clients, having negotiations with people where sometimes people will make comments saying like, stop being so masculine or
Yes.
stop doing this, where my response would be like, well, stop being so misogynistic. But
Yes.
okay, like I just think like women aren't always taught to stand up for themselves. And that was something I gained from Crew is one of the women that I talked to when I was younger just said like, well, guys stand up for themselves and make these assertions and act in a certain way all the time. So like, why wouldn't you? So that's kind of how no one's going to stand up for me but me. So I've learned like, for my, situation at work, if something's not right, like I need to say something, it's not going to get fixed. In a business transaction, if something doesn't seem right, no one's going to come in and, save me. I have to save myself. And I know that you've had similar experiences in your job position with negotiating and like you were mentioning, like listing contracts and stuff like that. I think that is partially why, and like I can't really, maybe completely put my, finger on what's going on, but I think those might be some of the contributing factors.
I 100% agree. And to Vivian, who asked the question about how are we getting lower commissions, I think a lot of, on the commercial real estate side as a realtor, you have the people that are deciding what commissions you get are generally men. So, when they see you come in and you go into a listing presentation or, you're working on a deal, they just think that you don't need as much money. and they will not pay you as much money because they just feel like, well, it's not a standard amount in commercial real estate that you make. It's what they feel that you deserve, before a transaction even occurs. So, that's part of it. And just being strong and, really standing up for yourself, as Katie is saying, is a huge part of that. So you make sure that you are compensated fairly, and all the parameters going into it, and not being a pushover because you're a woman, or because you're smaller, or because you're the fun, cute one. It's just that has nothing to do with your ability to perform a task. So that's really, I think, a lot of it is that the men are making the decisions on how much the women are getting compensated in transactions.
Yeah, you really just got to check it. And if you think something's not right, say something. I mean, you're putting in just as much time and effort as anyone else who's doing your job. Hopefully, I mean, I know like sometimes, everyone has different spectrums, but I mean,
Right,
if you're
right.
putting in effort and time, you deserve to be paid for that. And I always joke to people, I'm like, I need money just as much as everybody else. Like, I wake
Yeah.
up in the morning and come to work for a reason and work hard and devote my time and energy to this job. I deserve to be paid for what I put in. And I think just the assumption that like you're a woman, you need less money because you have a man or something like that is
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
absurd.
Yeah.
We all, like I've been telling people lately, like I have to pay for daycare too.
Yeah.
I need to work just as hard. And I think like it's just empowering too. Like I like making money. I like working hard. It makes me feel good about myself. And I just think, it can be really hard to stand up for yourself, but other people are doing it and no one's going to come in and like give you an SOS and save you. Like you have to do it for yourself.
So absolutely, absolutely. Well, moving along from the
Yes.
compensation battle. So we've talked about, the way we look, we've talked about men, we've talked about the compensation. Let's talk about crew and, really being a mentor. Like, you are a role model for other women, and you mentioned that there are a lot of senior level women in crew to help be a mentor, a role model. Do you have a specific mentorship program for
We
maybe
do.
younger people thinking about
Yeah.
joining, that could help them, guide through situations, a variety of different types of situations or questions?
Yeah, I think, we do in the Denver chapter specifically, we do have a mentor mentee committee. And I know that that program exists across many chapters. And that's really awesome. Like the program we have in Denver is robust and amazing and has amazing participants. And I know that it's really rewarding for both the mentor and mentees on a personal and a professional level. But then I think a lot of it just happens naturally because we have, people of all ages and experience levels within crew. I never, the mentor mentee committee kind of started the last couple of years, and I have not had the pleasure of partaking in that program, but I've found and met so many women in the business through crew have been crucial in my career. Just it's just nice to, there's so many situations you navigate as a human being in a
Right.
professional environment that you're not always sure, especially when you're younger. It's just like, you're not sure how to handle something, or if something bizarre comes up, you're like, is this normal? What would you do, especially when you're navigating conversations about compensation, or you're trying to get a promotion at work, or you're changing companies and you are trying to kind of figure things out. I think just there's naturally people you can go to and ask questions. But like I said, many chapters, I know there's people on here from all over the country. Many chapters have this. And I also wanted, Ritu and I talked about this. I personally will share my contact information with you guys. If you have any desire to get involved in your crew local chapter, I would be honored to make a personal connection with the chapter leadership in your market so that you can get involved. I did see a couple things pop up, one about a diversity group within Crew.
Yes.
With this new initiative with DEI, there is like a national diversity panel. And then I know that every chapter is differently, runs differently. We all have our own governance boards, but I know for a fact that many of the chapters have a DEI committee that's specifically focused on diversity. I did also see a chat pop up about collaboration with Crew and Arya. I think
Yes.
that's something that you guys have visited in the past and potentially will be looking to kind of revisit in the future on the national level, but certainly on the local level, there's a lot of opportunities for your local chapters to engage with each other. I know, like Denver, for example, I need to connect Joella with our director of community relations because we are looking to do something on a local level. And I'm sure that any chapter in our um, global network would be honored to participate with Arya. I just think it's so important that professional organizations that represent, the people who work in our industry work together
I
to
agree.
create, a good environment and, make sure that I think that's on a local level, kind of how you address some of these disparities between groups of human beings who deserve to be compensated fairly for the work that they put in.
Yeah, I want to just add to that, Atsuko. Thanks for asking that question. Well, we are working on some stuff. Stuff on the national level takes a lot of time. But Katie was generous enough to share the benchmark study, so that's something that you can, share with your clients, share with anyone you want. And as far as getting involved, if you're a little anxious about reaching out to your local chapter, Katie can introduce anyone personally to the president of the chapter, just so you don't feel, I know you've got a lot of mixers in Denver, and I'm sure other chapters do too, for new members, but just to go in and to start. So Katie, if you don't mind, typing in your contact info.
Yeah,
So if
let
people want
me
to reach out to you, or you guys all know where to reach me. And then Joella was so kind to offer herself as well. And Joella is really, she's been such a great resource to us. She's the past president of the Denver chapter, and she's been heavily involved in commercial, in Arya commercial. So she's the one that brought Katie to the table. So thank you. We only have 2 more minutes. So what I wanted to do is to announce our commercial committee Arya Scholarship Award winner. And that person is, she's Jody Wynn out of LT Commercial in Austin. And Jody's done a lot of stuff for her local chapter. She's worked very closely with Leslie, who has been the past president of the Austin chapter. And it was a little last minute for her to make an appearance, but maybe we'll have her on the next coffee just to say hi to everyone. So thank you so much, Jody, and congratulations to you for winning the scholarship. And Katie, thank you so much for coming on today and telling us a little bit more about Crew and everything that Crew offers. And hopefully, we can work a lot closer together. And it's been a good resource for everyone tuning in. So
thank you. I was honored to be here today, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with everyone. And I shared my contact information. If you need anything, call, text, email. I'm here to help you anytime and anywhere in this whole wonderful country of ours.
okay, thanks, Katie. Thanks everyone. Until next month. Bye.
Bye.